If you've been following our channel for a while, you may have picked up on our love of starships. Over the years, we've discussed many of the major faction ships, from the Grease unique starships to the many vessels that fought in the naval battles of the Clone Wars. Today, however, we'll be taking a look at a ship belonging to a more unusual class of characters, the Sith. Not the ships belonging to the various incarnations of the Sith Empire over its millennia of history, that's a topic for another video. Instead, in this video, we'll be focusing on a special type of ship known as the Sith Infiltrator.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
As you might have guessed by the ship's name, the title Sith Infiltrator referred to ships used by the Sith. Not the Sith Empire, but the Sith Lords themselves. The term infiltrator was used because these ships were used by masters and apprentices while working in secret against the Jedi Order after the Ruusan reformations and Darth Bane's presumed death. Darth Sidious and his two apprentices each used heavily customized star cruisers as their personal Sith infiltrators, but today we'll be focusing on perhaps the highest caliber of the three, the Scimitar, which belonged to Darth Maul. Ironically, the least important out of the three active Sith during this time period. The Star Courtier was a ship designed by the famous shipwright Ruges Nome, whom some of you might recognize as Darth Tenebrous in disguise. These starships were manufactured by Republic CNR systems for wealthy business people like chairpersons and diplomats who had to travel through dangerous swaths of space. It was 26.5 meters long, with a spherical cabin in the center for its crew and passengers. Two folding wings extended on either side of the cabin, and along those wings, radiator fins managed the excessive heat the ship's ion thrusters generated. These fins could also fold up, and indeed had to do so during landing. It was, of course, hyperspace capable and had laser cannons, sensitive sensor systems, and more to keep it safe during perilous voyages. The Scimitar, as mentioned, was a heavily modified star cruiser. It was the same size as the base model and had the same spherical central cabin with the same wing configuration. Unlike your run-of-the-mill star cruiser, however, the Scimitar was armed to the teeth, boasting 6 laser cannons, a proton torpedo launcher, and a mine layer in its arsenal. If that weren't enough, it also carried a cloaking device situated just in front of the cabin, fueled by rare Stygium crystals from Aten II, that not only hid it from the naked eye, but also any pursuing ship's sensors. Beneath the cloaking device, the Scimitar also carried a complement of equipment used by Darth Maul on his various missions, such as the Bloodfin, a Sith speeder, 3 Dark Eye probe droids, mines, bombs, security droids, torture droids, and other fun tools. Finally, perhaps the most impressive of all the ship's features was something otherwise considered impossible at the time. The Scimitar was able to track other ships through hyperspace, which set it apart from all other ships during this time period. Unfortunately for the Galactic Republic, the Scimitar was firmly in the hands of the Sith, and during the Separatist Crisis, the Clone Wars, and even during the time of the Empire, it ran multiple missions that worked against its interests. The first glimpse we got of the Scimitar was in canon in The Phantom Menace, but legend sources place an earlier appearance. As mentioned, the ship was designed by Darth Tenebrous, but allegedly it was built by Wraith CNR himself for his client, Darth Plagueis. Plagueis used the Scimitar to escape his fortress on Sojourn, which was under attack by an army hired from the King of Naboo. Thanks to the Scimitar's cloaking device, he was able to slip past the invaders' forces and escape. Later, it was given to Darth Maul, who flew it to Coruscant to deal with a Black Sun problem. The Scimitar was so stealthy, he was able to pass over the Jedi Temple itself and remain undetected. Now, in The Phantom Menace, Maul flew to Tatooine in pursuit of Queen Padme Amidala, whom he spied on with the Scimitar's extensive tech, then followed her back to Naboo, which was under the Trade Federation's blockade. In the ensuing Battle of Naboo, Maul faced off against Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and was defeated. After he was presumed dead, his ship fell into the hands of the Republic. The first technicians who boarded the Scimitar to inspect it were killed by its automated defenses, so Jedi Master Saesee Tiin was tasked with securing it. Unluckily for the Republic, Master Tin found all of Maul's concerning toys, but the ship's computers had been erased, removing any traces of a Sith Master or his identity. Following the victory at Naboo, the ship was on its way to Kuat Drive Yards to be studied further. However, along the way, it disappeared mysteriously as Darth Sidious pulled a few strings and had the scimitar repossessed. Later during the Clone Wars, Darth Sidious and the head of the Separatist army, General Grievous, boarded the scimitar and flew to Dathomir, where they and their forces confronted and wiped out the Night Sisters. All this time, the scimitar was kept safe in a hidden hangar on Theed, Palpatine's home turf. After he took the throne of the Empire, however, the ship was stored in Imperial Facility 729D, a secret facility somewhere in the Inner Rim. The droid 066 was tasked with overseeing the facility. Sidious entrusted the bounty hunter Chanath Char with the scimitar sometime before the Battle of Hoth, tasking her with reclaiming his stolen pleasure cruiser, the Imperialis, which had fallen into enemy hands. Chanath and 066, who was accompanying the bounty hunter, employed the cruiser's advanced tracking system to track the Imperialis through hyperspace and pinpoint its exact location. After traveling to it, all Chanath had to do was board the pleasure cruiser, facilitated by the droid passing on the pleasure craft's boarding codes. However, what 066, a loyal Imperial droid, didn't know was that Chanath was working with the rebellion. Instead of reclaiming Imperialis, Chanath set it to self-destruct, then ordered 066 to dock the scimitar so she and her rebel friends, Lando Calrissian and Lobot, could board and escape the doomed luxury yacht before it exploded. 066 refused to obey her orders, since it had become clear she was working against the Empire, and his programming demanded he only work to keep the ships entrusted to him safe. Instead, he flew away, keeping the scimitar safe and in Imperial hands. It isn't entirely clear what happened to the scimitar after this. Its remarkable design was used as a template for another CNR company to later manufacture the Rogue Shadow, the personal starship of one Starkiller. Beyond that, however, the ship drops off the face of history. Currently, there are no known sources stating that Imperial Facility 729D was ever discovered by the Rebel Alliance. In absence of any further information, and the scimitar's last sighting in the hands of 066, the facility's overseer, it seems fair to assume the scimitar is still stored secretly away in its depths, tended to by a droid loyal to no one but the vessels in his care. But what do you think? Do you find it odd that the most high-end Sith infiltrator to ever be built was given to an apprentice doomed from the beginning to die? Our theory is that Sidious entrusted him with it in order to sell the tale that Maul would indeed rule the galaxy at his side, but knowing his apprentice would die one way or another, Sidious was thinking ahead to his own possession of the ship. But that's just our theory. If you have any other explanations for why Maul was given the best of the best, or if you have any other theories as to what became of the scimitar after the Galactic Civil War, feel free to drop us a comment in the comment section below and let us know all your thoughts and ideas. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.